During a recent interview, Frank Warren has mentioned that he wants to make Zhilei Zhang versus Daniel Dubois. Now look, I am not mad at that. I think that is a brilliant fight. I think it is pure violence. I think this fight does not go 12 rounds. And look, when you look at it, this is the type of fight where people say styles makes fight. That's exactly what this fight, sort of brings out. That's what I think about when I look at the potential of Daniel Dubois versus Zhilei Zhang. And I think there's a few more questions that you can ask about this fight. And number one, has Daniel Dubois got the ability to stop Zhilei Zhang from landing that big left hand in the first 6 rounds? Because we know that Zhilei Zhang, after 6 rounds, he's going downhill. He hasn't got the gas tank. He's getting old, and his condition is not the same. And then number two, has Zhilei Zhang got the ability to stay with Daniel Dubois for the whole 12 rounds? Because Daniel Dubois is a pressure fighter. He comes forward, he throws a lot of bombs, and his whole goal is to knock you out. He's not coming to outbox you. He's got a really good jab, and then he's got a massive right hand, which he can land at every single point in that fight. And then, you have to think about Daniel Dubois. Has he got the ability to overcome southpaws? Because that is something that he struggles with. So look, let's have a look at Daniel Dubois' box rec here, right? And look at the fighters that he's been fighting recently, and look at the style and see if Daniel Dubois' style can match with or can overcome Zhilei Zhang's style. Now look, the only southpaw, or the most sophisticated southpaw that we've seen Daniel Dubois face, is Alexander Usyk, right? And he lost to Usyk twice. But look, we see here he's faced Anthony Joshua, which he won in a devastating fashion, right? And Anthony Joshua is a pressure fighter, but not a southpaw. And Joshua does not fight like Zhilei Zhang, right? Filip Hrgovic, not the same. Jerome Miller, not the same. Alexander Usyk, as I said, he lost to him twice. And then, Kevin Lerena, these guys are not southpaw. These guys don't fight anywhere close to the way, Zhilei Zhang fight. So we know that Daniel Dubois, every time that he's faced a southpaw, and, granted, one of the best southpaws I have ever seen in a ring, which is Alexander Usyk, and he lost to him. And I'm not saying that Usyk is anywhere close to what, or Zhilei Zhang is close to what Usyk is. Let me put it that way. But Zhilei Zhang is a very crafty southpaw. He's intelligent. He knows that he's old, but he knows that he's got the ability to get close to the target, to land a big shot. And we saw that in that Joe Joyce fight, right? He baited Joe Joyce into thinking that he can have success in close range. And then Zhang, landed some big shots there. So, Zhang knows how to fight against pressure fighters, but has he been a success always when he's fighting pressure fighters? And that's something that we can have a look at when we look at his box rec here, right? So Zhilei Zhang, right, lost to Agit Caballero. Now, would you say Agit Caballero has the same style in terms of pressure fighting like Daniel Dubois? Not quite the same, because Agit Caballero, as we know, is a pressure fighter, front foot fighter, but he targets the body to lower the hand before he goes to the head. Daniel Dubois is a head hunter. I don't think I've seen Daniel Dubois throw a lot of body shots, of course, except that body shot against Alexander Usyk, which I thought it was a low blow. But Daniel Dubois, most cases does not throw any body shots at all. We know that he goes to the head, and so look, Daniel Dubois does not fight like Agit Caballero, and Zhilei Zhang does not do well with pressure fighters when they have quicker feet. Agit Caballero's feet is not very slow, right? Joe Joyce has a slow feet, so then Zhilei Zhang knows that he can, counter those right hands, and he can have the advantage of someone not having the quicker feet to close the gap as quick as possible. Agit Caballero closes the gap as quick as possible. Daniel Dubois has pretty quick feet for a big guy. He can close the gap as soon as possible. If we go here, right, Deontay Wilder, you could say it's a pressure fighter, but the Wilder that fought Zhilei Zhang, didn't have much left in him, right? And Deontay Wilder has not got the most coordinated feet anyway. So, look, Zhilei Zhang overcame Deontay Wilder, and we saw that. Joseph Parker is a volume puncher. Joseph Parker has got very good fundamentals. He's not the most sophisticated pressure fighter. He's a volume puncher. Um, and he's someone that is very crafty. And we saw that Zhilei Zhang, at the latter part of the fight, Zhang became vulnerable to the fast hands of Joseph Parker. And then, of course, he won against Joe Joyce, once again, Joe Joyce, and then he lost against Filip Hrgovic. Filip Hrgovic, who also is a very durable pressure fighter that comes and throws a lot of shots and tries to get you out of there. So look, as we can see, Zhilei Zhang, doesn't have the best track record of fighting pressure fighters who has, quicker feet, who are able to close the distance, but also able to get out of range, right? So Zhilei Zhang potentially would have problems with Daniel Dubois in this fight, as well as Daniel Dubois would have problems with someone like Zhilei Zhang, because, as I said, Daniel Dubois does not, do well with southpaws, and Alexander Usyk is the epitome of that now. As I said before, Usyk or Zhilei Zhang is not the same as Usyk. You can't compare them. They're two different fighters. Usyk is way too crafty, too fast on his feet, just too nimble. And, he's here, he's there, and he's nowhere. It's just really difficult. Whereas Zhilei Zhang will be there. Zhilei Zhang is a hittable target, right? Zhilei Zhang is not going away. He's not moving around the ring because he hasn't got a gas tank to move around the ring. So Daniel Dubois, would have the opportunity to land big shots on Zhilei Zhang. But I think that Zhang would be more dangerous in the first 5 rounds. Because as we know, Zhang is getting older. He's had his losses. I don't know if Zhang feels like he's got the opportunity to become a world champion, which I'm sure he would have had that sort of hope in his career. I think at this stage, I wouldn't say that Zhang would become a world champion, but this is heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. But one thing that Zhang is going to have over Daniel Dubois is, I think, experience. I think Zhilei Zhang has a much better amateur background. He's a southpaw, as I said before, and he's crafty, and he knows how to, sort of deceive his opponents into thinking that they have the chance in throwing that right hand, and then he slips on the outside and then comes up with the left hook, which was a shot that he landed and knocked Deontay Wilder out, or put Deontay Wilder in a very serious trouble. So Zhang is very crafty and he knows what he's doing. So he's got a chance there. And Daniel Dubois, he knows one thing, and one thing only, is putting pressure, landing big shots, and trying to get you out of there. So look, I absolutely love this matchup. I think it's a great matchup. I think both fighters complement each other very well. As I said, I don't think that this fight goes the distance at all. I think it's a fight where it's a matter of who lands first. If Dubois is able to land a big shot in the first, 5 rounds, Zhilei Zhang will be in massive trouble. If Zhang lands that big left hand, which he's tremendously smart in setting up, then Daniel Dubois will be in massive trouble. So look, I am super excited if this fight would be made. It'll be good to see, the press conference. I mean, Daniel Dubois doesn't talk much. Zhilei Zhang has got an interpreter who talks for him. Who knows, right? Who knows what he's going to say? But it will be an interesting fight as long as it lasts. But if I was to, right now pick someone to win this fight, I would say Daniel Dubois, just because I think Daniel Dubois is the much younger, fresher fighter. I think he's the fighter that can go the distance. And I think Daniel Dubois, if he lands, it's going to be a massive trouble. Zhilei Zhang, on the other hand, has also got a shot in the first 5 rounds to make a massive sort of upset to me. I think Zhilei Zhang has the opportunity to cause the upset. But I think if I was to pick someone to win this fight, I would say Daniel Dubois has the advantage because he's the much younger, smaller, younger, fresher, and a fighter that has got a lot more in front of him to achieve in the heavyweight division than Zhilei Zhang. But look, get in the comment section, guys, and let me know what you think about Zhilei Zhang versus Daniel Dubois. Who wins right now if you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below.